I'd like to talk now about pronoun reference. This is really a really important concept, a very important concept, really a critical one. And it's fairly sophisticated. There are lots of solid adult writers who make errors in pronoun reference just because they haven't been taught to avoid this problem. The reason to avoid it, as the board says, is that if we're going to be precise in our writing, then the pronouns, except for the indefinite ones and interrogative ones actually, need to have antecedents. They need to have nouns to which they refer. Those can't just be sentences. They have to, in fact, be grammatical nouns. And our writing is much more clear and much tighter and much better when our pronouns have these antecedents. Now, it's especially the relative pronouns, which and that, begin in adjective clauses, and then also the demonstrative pronouns, especially this and that, that often do not have antecedents. So you take a sentence like this, which doesn't sound that bad. They studied for the test, which didn't result in a great grade. Well, we look at this, which is a pronoun. It needs an antecedent. But the only nouns in this clause, this independent clause, are they, the students, and the test, and which neither of those is the antecedent of which. So we have to revise this sentence. Even though students studied for the test, the results were not as great as they hoped. Although they studied for the test, their grades were not as great as they hoped. We have to revise this sentence. Oftentimes the best way to repair a reference error is simply to rewrite the sentence so that you don't have that pronoun. Their careful preparation for the test did not result in a great grade. That might be the best way to repair the sentence, or at least a good way. Really, I think we learn about reference best by correcting reference problems. So I want to go over several of these sentences in exercise 6.2a, again, even-numbered ones. The first one is a good example. He struggled for years to control his violent temper, and this is how the world will always remember him. Well, this doesn't have an antecedent in that preceding clause. It's not he. It's not temper, and so the sentence is not as clear or strong as it could be. The world will always remember that he struggled for years to control his violent temper. That might be a better way to write this sentence. Let's see. Number 8, we all have to take sports, and this is good. Again, is it the sports that are good or the requirement? The requirement that we take sports is good. I think that's what the author means. Number 10, this is someone who's listing the reasons why, in his or her opinion, cats are better than dogs. By the way, all of these sentences I culled from student writing. So they're really not mine. They belong to my students. On the other hand, it is often necessary to bathe dogs regularly, or else they tend to smell, which is the third reason cats are better. Here we see which as a relative pronoun, but again, they tend to smell, which is a third reason, and so which doesn't have an antecedent. So we need to say something like, a third reason cats are better is that, unlike dogs, you don't have to bathe them, or is that you have to bathe dogs, but you don't have to bathe cats. And then finally, for purposes of this little clip, Dolly has always loved the outdoors and hiking. I think this might have nurtured her common sense. Well, this does refer to Dolly. Is it the outdoors and hiking that nurtured her common sense, or her love of the outdoor and hiking? I guess you could argue that this isn't a reference error, but it's not as clear as I would like it to be. So her love of the outdoors and hiking nurtured her common sense. Okay? That's pronoun reference, a really important concept.